welcome up our first case study. And I have James Cooper, who is the Chief Technologist for Advanced and Visualization at Raytheon. I have Nicholas Castillo, who's with Immersive Design Operations Lead and Reality Capture Expert, also at Raytheon. And then Brent Dingle, who is with Innovative Signal Analysis. So, gentlemen, come on up and take it away. Thanks.
Yokoso, minasan, ohayou gozaimasu. Oh, sorry about that. Welcome to our talk, XR More Than Just Headsets. I'm James Cooper, and with me here are Nick Castillo and Brent Dingle. For the purposes of this talk, we're going to focus on XR as a blanket terminology on VR to MR to AR. And because this is the last day, you might have gotten it already, but we're going to try to do things a little bit different. So I hope you'll bear with us. XR has many benefits, of course, to enterprise. You go down to the expo floor, talk to the vendors, and they will tell you just how many benefits there are to XR in enterprise. But as new technologies are seemingly constantly being put out, it can be prohibitive to perpetually keep upgrading to all these new technologies. Change the slide, he says. Okay. So it begs a really strong understanding of your use cases in order to really economically leverage XR technologies. So for this next part, I'm going to be playing a manager, and these guys are going to be my workers. So, hey guys, I need you to do something for me.
Really, boss? What do you need?
I really need to wow a customer, and I'm going to give you a week to do it.
Oh, a week? So what do you got, boss? I think we can do it. I think we can do it. We've done it before.
I've got some Creo models, Team Center workflow, and and an empty manufacturing space.
Yeah. You said 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks?
1 week.
Okay. I think what if we just try up with the Immersive Design Center? We've been doing stuff there for a while. I think it'd work, right? We could use that.
The IDCs are pretty cool, and we've been using it for decades, but I need something new and different and flashier.
Flashier.
What I really need is something more engaging and interactive, like our VirtualWorks tool, but not something for remote collaboration support, something for planning and wowing.
Well, we have a backpack visualization system, and that we can hand out a whole bunch of stereoscopic glasses and then project on the wall and everybody can see it. What do you think about that, boss?
Something like that, but I don't want to have to put headsets or glasses on all the people out there. There's going to be like 20 or 30 people, and they have to be free to move about. What else you got?
Well, we do have a lot of projectors around. We can actually set those up and project on the wall in different places. It's all going to be kind of static, but you get the idea of the layout of the room, and it would communicate to a lot of people without headsets. What about that, boss?
Well, that's pretty cool, but it's still kind of static, and I need something that will really grab the customer's attention. So what do you think for that?
Well, it is in that manufacturer space. I remember that they do have a garage door, right? We can use like thin transparent film on top of the garage glass windows, and we can rear project on it, and we can put the content in there so that people can actually see the space, all of them standing there and seeing it from their own perspective, the space itself. And we have all the models, so we can just dump it in there, and we can put words and text on there if we really need to augment it. What about that?
Yeah, no, that's great, but it's still kind of static. Do you have anything that can really bring the room to life? Maybe blend together the reality with the models and without too much cost?
Well, I know you were talking about that room before as being, having an elevator in there, and that's why you wanted this space, right? Okay, well, I can go and record the elevator and then put a plate on it, bring it in and make a black background, and then place our augmented product inside of it so they can see the space, they can see exactly how it would fit, and then we can show it moving up and going to the next floor. What about that?
Yeah, no, that's super cool. I love it. But what do we do about upstairs. There aren't any big blank walls to project on, and it's actually all big windows.
Okay, boss. I think I got it. We have no we have no walls up there. So the projection stuff, I think that's going to go awesome. I think we're going to show them the layout. I think that elevator thing, if you pull that off, you are an awesome artist. I know it'll happen. So we're like walking them through the whole area, right? And then we go up there. No walls, no walls, no walls. What are we going to do with it? There's windows. What if we showed them, we got all that data already. We kind of know what the system's going to do. What if we set up like a monitor that aligns, we take like a picture of out the window and we put it on that monitor, and then we put all that data up there. So when they walk up, they can, even though we don't have anything built yet, they could actually see what it's going to look like looking out into that space. You think that, what about that, boss? You think, boss? Yeah, boss? Yeah?
That's awesome, but it sounds expensive.
Oh, well, we already have the monitor, so I think we got the monitor. We got a couple computers laying around, and I think you said you had like the team center and all the simulations and all that because we had to prove we knew what we were doing, right?
We have the models.
So I think we got all the data that we need. I think that we can do it in like unbelievable low cost. It's just putting it up there, though we do have to have somebody take a picture. Oh wait, camera. You already got the camera.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't think it's going to cost that much, boss.
All right then, you sold me. Let's do it.
3 weeks?
3 weeks? One. Yeah, no worries. We got it, boss.
All right. End scene. Hopefully you enjoyed our little performance, our turn on this stage. If not, we're not paid actors, and sorry, no refunds. The scenario presented here was actually based on something we actually encountered earlier this year. Some details abstracted, obviously. But it was all done within 3 weeks. Yeah, not 1 week, but 3 weeks, and way under a already very tight budget. And it received nothing but positive praise from our customers, our managers, and our company leadership.
That's what you just talked on.
Yep, sure enough it was. So the scenario we shared was focused on fast turnaround and being relatively inexpensive, but it also included things from our world, like the immersive design centers, virtual works, the backpack visualization centers, all these things that we've been doing for over the past decade. We've always found the right fit solution for needs across the board, from our factories to out in the field. This particular application was much lower cost and allowed reuse of existing resources and technologies to meet that required budget and schedule. So in the future, of course, no one really knows what the future is going to hold, but XR will very likely continue, and AR, as Liz was saying, will very likely be a part of it. But as we move forward, what we want to really keep in mind is that the real power of XR is in enabling and enhancing communication and collaboration. XR is a useful tool, and you have to think outside the box sometimes. When you're starting out, you can have a lot of challenges, from finding your champions, your sponsor stakeholders, gaining that IT support, figuring out what resources you have and what you can get, size and nature of your audience, and of course, always ROI, right? But creativity can really help you right size your solution, potentially reduce costs, and again, still really wow your audience. So now we're at the end of our talk. We do have a couple of questions that were sent in that we're going to start off with. Then we'll open it up to all of you. And one more slide. So, to both of you, if XR is more than just headsets, what are the overlooked elements, like content strategy, data integration, or user experience design, that truly determine success? And why do so many organizations still focus only on the hardware?
Oh, thanks. This was a really good question. The way we set this presentation up, we were focusing on mostly the hardware aspects. So when everybody says XR, they tend to go, oh, we're going to do glasses, or we're going to do something with the headsets. And so that isn't always the solution, though. And this got into the other underlying things, which was also at the kind of hidden in our presentation. We had to know what the data we had was, what tools we already had available. We've been doing this for decades now, so we had a pretty good idea of the infrastructure we had to work within At the time, I was working with Raytheon still for all of this. That's why I'm up here. So we had some restrictions on how we could get the data, how we could move the data, what we could actually show, because some of this was a customer presentation. So what determines the success, I think, is understanding what the actual need is. So as we went through this particular demo, we started out with what we had, which was the Immersive Design Center. But that really didn't meet the need of what we actually wanted. So getting to the success point was going back and forth with the manager that was helping us, that needed this, and understanding what he really wanted to achieve. So a lot of the success points are understanding what you can do, what you can't do, the time frame. This was an unbelievable short time, and the cost that they're willing to, and this was also very, very low cost. So I think that helps define some of it. I think I covered most of that question.
Yeah, I'd also say that we already have the things, as you were mentioning, decades of things. So we've already gone through the process of the very long process of getting that tech into our area in the aerospace and defense. So the problem that we have today is everybody goes to the next shiny thing and they forget about all the hardship that they took to get to that level. And then that tool is gone. We weren't going to use it anymore because we're looking at this next thing. There is still plenty of reuse in all those tools that we've already invested in, and there's use cases waiting for them. That means we have a larger tool belt because we have more tools. So still use them. And the success story on top of this is we ended up getting more business from that. We won the program, but we also ended up doing more projects that also were more XR related as well. So fantastic.
All right, next question, and another one actually just came in too, but the second question, are there any particular pieces of software that are especially hardware agnostic and make it easy to use non-traditional XR devices for XR applications? And conversely, are there any pieces of hardware that are especially software agnostic that can be driven easily by a variety of non-traditional XR software?
The agnostic question. That one's tricky. Unity and Unreal are probably the go-to software. They cover most all of the platforms. Again, it depends on what you really need it to do. Can you distribute an executable? Can you do it? They just introduced their web interface, so maybe it'll work that way a bit better. I tend to think that in the end, the agnostic part probably is how you arrange the data in the first place. What models are you going to have to use? What graphic system are you going to display on? So agnostic's hard because a lot of the engineering on our side, the engineers use a specific, it's PTC Creo or it's AutoCAD, and those have their independent formats, proprietary formats. And they didn't design them because it was like 1960, 1970, wherever they picked their file format. They weren't thinking about distributing their models all over the place for visualization. And they designed them to help the engineers, not so much for the display. So the tricky part, to get the agnostic part, I think that what used to be Pixies, the Unity talked about their transform thing. I think that's useful. I think Unreal has a similar package built into it, so you can translate most of the models now. But getting back to the example we had, maybe you don't have to use Unreal or Unity either, because maybe you already have something that can display the models as you need them. So what we did in this one, we weren't even displaying the models. We took the engineering software and we took pictures, screenshots effectively, a little higher res than that, but and then all we needed was an image viewer. So maybe it's not on the models. If your use case doesn't require you to turn the models around, you might be able to get away with images or bluffing the way that you did the video shot. So that doesn't use anything. So again, it gets back to the creative aspect and understanding what the real use case is. So agnostic, you're probably not going to find. Not for every use case. You can't say that this software is always going to work for every case. We tried. Or hardware. That's the other point in this is that like the headsets might not be the best solution. They're really good for a lot of things. But think outside the box. I think that to the future point, I think that nobody knows what the future is. And the display devices, they're going to constantly change. We've been painting on walls for forever. We talk with our hands. So, I mean, everybody, look, here's a square. I need this here, and I need to get this up to there. all of you well, hopefully all of you understood that. And so sometimes you don't need the tech you don't need the fancy tech to do it. So think about that while you're doing it. What's the minimum thing you need?
All right.
Did you have more on that, Nick?
Two more questions.
No, on that one.
Yeah.
Agnostic?
No, you're good.
Yeah, hardware agnostic or software agnostic, yeah. Okay, so next question. So two more questions. One, in your opinions, is there any replacement currently for the HoloLens?
I have an
No.
answer, but I've been talking too long.
The answer is no. I mean, they've got stuff coming out, but it's still not, it's going to take a while to have adoption and at enterprise, and especially in the aerospace and defense side of what we have with our constraints, there's not a viable replacement for that now. There's some great ideas, there's some great tech coming out, but it's going to take a while to get there, obviously. Especially in a manufacturing environment and such, that there's always going to be those constraints. So, not yet. I'm sure there will be. That's an easier answer.
Yeah, I basically agree. I think that there were some, X-Reel was here. There are a couple other wonderful headsets that were being displayed around. Meta's come a long ways with the Ray-Ban stuff. I think it's gonna, but then you get into the manufacturing side, and I think it's going to get harder there. ODG used to have pretty decent for some cases. I think there's hope. I just don't think that we're there yet. And I know that the industry is working to get there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited about what I'll see next year.
Yeah.
I think the drive toward, having the smaller compression files and all that stuff will also help with headsets being able to display better. Even the lower cost, lower res ones will now be able to handle the data that is fed into it. So all of the advancements, it's not just one thing, it's also the software that'll help the hardware make it better.
Yeah. Oh, and I'd like to throw out, the AES is like one of the best conferences for actually all those manufacturers finding out what we need.
Yep.
So I think that's unbelievably helpful. I think that it's guided a lot of the decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly to that point. We mentioned in the talk today, in the presentation, that you really need to understand your use cases and think about how the solution fits that. Don't try to cram a solution onto a use case. Understand your use cases and what you actually need. And so maybe the HoloLens was the best fit, and you need something really similar in capabilities and qualifications, certifications like that. Maybe a mixed reality solution will cover you these days. That technology, of course, has gotten very far. Maybe you don't need a headset at all. It really behooves you to really understand that use case, the needs and requirements surrounding it.
Drill and hole.
Yeah, that's right. And for Scott Berkey's sake, you
Drill
don't need a
and
drill,
hole.
you need a hole.
Yep.
Okay, last question. I'm noticing some weird flickering on the stage. Is Nick a hologram?
Nick is real, hashtag. Nick is real.
All right, that's all we have on here. Are there any questions from the audience, from those amongst you? I am seeing none.
I have a bright light in my nose.
Yeah. Okay,
Good.
Well, hey, thank you all very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. All right, Ryan.